Merry meet everyone, welcome back to Midnight Fantasy Creation. Today I wanted to try two pendants. Both are going to be crescent moon, but I want to try and make a customized ripple effect on a crescent. And the reason why is because there are a lot of ripple effect items are really popular right now because they look really cool and I've always wanted to do one. I don't have the money to buy one off of, let's see, what's the name? Not Let's Resin, what's the other name? Into Resin has a bunch of rippled effect items that are really cool, and I would love to eventually buy one, but right now I'm in between doing things, so money's a little tight for me to get expensive molds and items like that. So I want to make one, so I can at least, have one in my store to have. And then I got to get cracking on adding new items to my shop and updating some of the ones that I currently need to update. So I have two different crescent moon molds. This one, you can probably make every one of these a rippled effect if you wanted to. And then cast your own finished molds to make an original mold for you to do over and over again, basically. But I don't have the stuff to cast molds other than the putty. And I want something that, the UV light can go through. Especially since I'm working with UV resin right now, I don't have, all my epoxy stuff is packed away, probably expired, because it's been sitting for a couple of years now. I haven't been able to really work in my office much thanks to the hornets and the fact that the landlord needs to get those windows replaced. I do still need to do a soft type video. So right now I'm going to start with so I'm using Let's Resin's hard type. And I'm going to start off with filling these with some resin. Actually, no, I'm going to get the film ready for this. Now, I got this, I think, in a kit with something. So I don't know where this film came from. It's actually, oh wow, it's quite thick, which is fine by me. But I am going to use it for this project. Hopefully it didn't get too wrinkled with it being moved around a lot. But I am going to trace out, wow, this feels like a nice thick plastic. And it's going to stick too, perfect. So I'm going to trace out with the microtip brush. I got this at the Dollar Tree. And of course, I need lighting. And I am just going to trace out the crescent that I am going to be cutting. That's too much light because I can't see. This is a very thick film. And this marker is not going to stay very well on this film, but I just need it here long enough to cut out a piece. And then I do want one for one of these too as well. And they're not exactly the same size. In the midnight air, dream. Now I would prefer a better marker than this because these markers don't like this kind of material. So I'm just going to cut this out. I almost feel like this is a sticky piece of paper, almost like a vinyl. I don't know, like I said, I don't know exactly what it is, but good thing about this marker not wanting to stay on this material is you should be able to wipe it off fairly easily. And I just need an idea of where I'm cutting. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I do want it to be somewhat decent. Shadows fade as the light breaks through. A world reborn, and it starts with you. Dance to the rhythm of your own heartbeat. Okay, so this one I'm going to use for the water ripple itself. And this one I want to do without the water ripple effect. So I'm going to start by filling these up. And I'm probably going to have to re-drill a hole for the water ripple one, at least halfway through, but I'm not too worried about that. Now, I could probably back this in a color. I'm going to just do clear right now. Step by step, feel the world at your... Actually, I wonder if I can turn the light on this one. Is that going to be too bright? Oh, that's so much better. Why didn't I think of that? We'll find out if this video is too bright for that light. Wipe this off so I'm not getting resin over everything because I broke the tip. Right, and then this one went right here. I'm going to stick it in preferably before the UV resin is cured. So I'm hoping that will stick. Granted, this is in the way. I wonder if maybe I should poke a hole in that. And then I want to put resin in this, but I'm not filling it up all the way. And I'm hoping to find where I put my other resin bottles into storage before I run out of that one, because that one's not my favorite. I don't hate it. It works for what I need it for, which is really good. It's not a bad piece. That might be too much resin. Oh well. And then I have my double-sided lamp for curing. Fantasy taking flight. I'm going to let that sit for the full 300 seconds because one of the crescent moons are actually quite thick. I want to make sure it cures all the way. It is sticky. Oh, I wish I would have known that before I put it in there. Oh, phooey. Well, that explains that. That might actually be good because that way you can put it cured and then stick it on. I might have to redo this. We'll see how it works. All right. Let's see what we got. Do I want to take it out or do I want to leave it in? I think I'll leave that in, but I want to redo crescent part of it. This one I want to take out. And that's a little off. I want to see what side. Darn it. Because I didn't realize this was actually a sticker. So now I want to see what side of the sticker is which side. Now I definitely want to figure out where I got this film. Skies, a new dawn, rising before your eyes. Of course, I don't have any tape on me, so I can't do the tape trick. Come on. Peeled you up once already. I know you're 2 layers. I have to refill this one anyway, so I'm going to set this one aside. I need to recut out the shape for this. So while this is curing, I'm going to try and peel off that sticker. Leave the past where it used to stay. Chase the fire till the break of day. Dance to the rhythm of your own heartbeat. Finally, all right, so I had the clear piece on bottom, which doesn't stick very well. The resin is sticking to this very nicely, so I am going to lie that down out of the way. Actually, I might put it over here, and I think that just went upside down. I am going to trace out another one of these. Now, I don't mind it being a little bit smaller than the mold itself. I just don't want it to be so small. Step by step, feel the world at your feet. Breaking chains that held. That definitely looks better. Oh, don't get stuck in there, please. You down so tight. Midnight fantasy taking flight. Let the... All right, that one cured a lot more evenly. Oh, you know what? Let's do this real quick. Since I gotta fight that. I need this out. Winds carry your song tonight. Line this up as best we can. And if anything overhangs, just chop it off. Just with that alone, it looks pretty cool. Let the stars guide you to the light. So that one is set. Stick this aside. See if I can get this to work. Essentially, I just want to peel this off, stick it in this circle, and then fill it up. And this one will be done. And then we can work on the actual ripple on this one. Every step is a story untold. In your hands, the future you hold. Ah, it did work. Yes. All that fighting, and that's all I needed to do. So it looks like leftover tape from your jewelry making will come in handy. All right, let's see if I can get this in here without getting it too far off. And I just loosened that from its mold. Awesome. So I'm just going to pop that out just because there's some bubbles in there. Oh, whatever. It gives it a really cool effect. But that is the one without the ripple effect. I think those look really cool. I may actually smooth some of the edges out because they're a little sharp before I put the back coating on. But I want to get this started. So we are going to get some of this putty ready. Because, of course, I'm going to be using the putty. I think I got some glitter in there. See if I can get rid of it. Dance to the rhythm of your own heart. And it's going to stick to me. Awesome! Where is the nail thingy I just had? There it is. So I'm going to try and line this up. Now, this stuff does not want to stick too well to this plastic, but the resin sticks really well to the plastic. So with the ripple effect, you can make any ripple pattern design your heart desires. And you can even just leave it globby like this if you want. Just, you know, smooth it out enough so it goes all the way to the edges. That's sticking to me. Step by step, feel the world at your feet. All the feet. And yes, the stuff would stick to my gloves even if I had gloves on. I've had finger cots and gloves on and it still sticks. When it is hot enough out and it's actually very humid and hot, this stuff gets very tacky. Now I kind of want to use this tool to just make imprints in a nice water ripple kind of way. Probably should have let this settle. Might need to add a little bit more. And you can use the light to angle this so you can see what's going on with your pattern. Like I said, it's just going to stick to my fingers. You can use round tools like this and make it look more round, like droplets. You can use all sorts of tools. I'm actually going to let this sit. I might actually raise this up a little bit more than it already is because I want it a little more bumped up. And it's missing some spots, so I'm probably just going to add some more resin to this. Resin putty. That should be enough. And let it settle a little bit. Even this tool, it's sticking to it. That's what I mean. It doesn't matter. That's the only downfall with this stuff, is when its temperature is just right. This is like, it's almost like bubble gum. You warm it up and it's super sticky. 99% rubbing alcohol tends to it tends to do a good job at getting it off of things you don't want it on. Now, I'm not using that again because that was a pain. I have tweezers around here. Okay, that's not going to do a good job at holding this in place. Oh, it's even sticking to the silicone. Maybe I should have done this in winter. Let the winds carry your song tonight. That was a very bad idea. It is just too hot and humid. This is my issue that I'm having with a lot of my projects. It's just too hot, it's too humid, it's too sticky, and I can't get anything to work right. Let the stars guide. All right, so I'm going to have to scrap this idea partially for another day because I can't work with anything. Nothing's working right. I'm going to try and finish this one. Hopefully be able to clean up this mess. So if you're working with a nail putty, make sure you're in an air-conditioned room. There is absolutely no AC in this room. I literally just have a fan that blows outwards to help with ventilation, because the resin technically is toxic, and you should be wearing, this isn't UV resin, but this stuff, you're supposed to be in a well-ventilated area to ensure that you're not breathing in fumes. Let's Resiners has a room purifier that actually helps pull the toxic air fumes out from the air while you're working. I would love to have one of those as well. They aren't that expensive. I think they're like $40, but still $40 I don't have to spend on an item when I've got a perfectly good working fan for the moment. So eventually when I'm in my office, that I definitely would love to have. It's a nice air purifier, plus I've got like 4 windows in that office, so I can always, have several fans going if need be. I am going to figure out where I'm going to stick this, where it's not sticking everywhere. And then I wanted to seal this in. But I also want to take the sharpness out of this. This is actually quite sharp. And it looks like a little piece of the film is over the edge. That's okay. Now this is not level. This is very much higher here than it is towards here. So if I were to put resin on this, it's going to run right off. So I'm going to grab my tack-it stuff. No, I don't have a level on me, at least not a small enough one where this would work. You can also buy a small level from Little Windows. They have a really cool one. I think it's about yay big. That's also very inexpensive. And I would love to have that for the table, because this table is never level. And I could stick it on this and be like, oh yeah, this is good. Or I need to adjust it. So, hopefully that's as level as I am going to get it. More level than it was. I'm going to get this back in here. Let the stars guide you to the light. I am going to put this aside. So, I am not going to be able to do the water ripple today. But I'm definitely going to save this for another day when it's cooler out. And I can do a video. So I'll probably save this entire video for a cooler day. So if you see me finish this, it meant I had found a day where I could finish the whole thing off in one go. And I just leaked.
Every step is a story.
Now, I'm not too worried about the backing of this to be perfect. I just want to make sure that film is a lot more secure on this piece and it's not going to come off. And I'm also hoping to remove some of these sharper pieces without having to sand it down. Now, if I would have known when I first poured this that you could peel the sticker off, I would have done that. That would have been my first thing that I would have done. But I didn't. So now I need to get this over here. Oh, fudge. I'm going to get this over here. Please don't spill. And get this in here without it going everywhere. Want to add more magical creatures to your day? Come check out midnightfantasycreation.com where you can find all your favorite creatures on clothing, drinkware, house decor, and so much more. Alright, so that has had time to cure. And cure right. That leaked, actually, too much. Alright, so you gotta be careful when because I drooled a little bit, so a lot of it was running off, and it cured really weird. Now I kind of wish I would just left it alone, because it was perfect the way it was. So this part I can do again, but I might wait until I can do this piece. So I am gonna stop this right here, and do this on another day. I, in theory, could sand that down and it would be fine. But you definitely need to be careful with your resin and make sure you don't drool or drip or spill over anywhere. I will work on these another time. Alright, so it is a much better temperature out now that it is a lot later in the season than when I first started this video, so it should be cool enough where this putty isn't going to get wicked tacky and stick all over the place, especially to my own fingers, which I am just going to clean off real quick. I also already cut out the crescent for this one. I am probably going to try putting, because I think this is a peel, right? It in before backing it instead of popping it out and backing it. That way I'm not dripping all over the place, because I do want to back it a little bit in resin to kind of seal it in so it doesn't pop, the sticker doesn't come off. And then this is an actual water ripple pendant molds, and I'm going to use, I bought these a long time ago. I want to say this looks like something that came off of either Shein or Temu. It could even be Amazon, because it does look like it's somewhat of a named brand, but not the typical brand Let's Resin. This is kind of like similar to Let's Resin. It has some of my favorite colors in it. Don't remember exactly how much I bought for this, so if I find where I bought it from, it could have even been gifted to me. I'm not 100% positive. I said that I've had this for quite some time, and I don't know where I got it, but it also comes with its own brush, like Let's Resins. So if I can find it, I will link it below. If not, I will link the Let's Resin brand below for you guys to have. I am going to get a nice chunk of putty, and we are going to get started, or finish, this crescent moon and turn it into your own custom water ripple pendant. And so I've got some tools that we used earlier. I am just gonna work this where I want it.
In your hands, the future you hold. Dance to the rhythm of your own heartbeat.
And I want to thank my viewers for bearing with me and the renovations in my office. I'm not sure if I'll be able to finish them completely before the end of the year, because it looks like we're going to be, since we put the windows in, I believe I did mention that the windows are in, and they finally finished the siding on the outside. I have new lights outside my door, so this is just a nice update to what has been going on with the renovations around the office and in the office. So I've got a new entrance light, which is really pretty. The siding on the windows and the siding is all done on the outside, and because they're done working on the exterior lights, I can finish one wall, but they still need to redo the light switches, the wall with the windows in it, and also there's no insulation in that particular wall. So they're not going to be able to work on the insulation until wintertime. I am hoping by the new year I can start painting and re-putting my office together. So this has not been a fast renovation by any means. The landlord for the office that I'm renting has hired people that are only coming over on the weekends and working because they work their jobs during the week. So this is being done very slowly. I am starting to lose some serious patience with it, but I'm happy it's at least getting done. So I wanted to thank you guys for being very patient with me and my little chaos that I've been dealing with my office. So I am in my room trying to keep the little kitty cats out. I do have some of the figurines done to paint. I might want to add just a little bit more putty to this. So with the figurines, I have some done to paint, and I will show you guys how I'm painting them. The next color I do, because I think I've done 3 or 4 colors to mess with, because different colors work differently in that UV light. So definitely had time to play around and figure out how to set. As for the recordings, for some reason Xbox is not working on my laptop, and I gotta figure out how to get my Xbox gaining whatever you need to use in order to record your screen. I have to look more information on that, so that's gonna be a little while, but I can definitely show you how I'm setting it up and using it. I just won't have a video showing you it being printed, and then I will definitely paint them, and I'll do one video with you guys, me explaining all the paints and what they're needed for and the steps, because I do have primer. I want to get white primer, and we can do this gnome in the future, because the kit that I got came with gray primer, and that's a bit of a pain in the butt to coat, and it's a little too dark. I want to find white primer for those, and then I'll do videos on painting those very soon. And then I finally got the mold in that I want to use to do the 3D soft UV resin, so we can do some like butterfly earrings, because I got a tiny little nail mold with little butterflies, really cute butterflies. I don't know how well you can see this on the camera. I will try to zoom in for you. And some wicked fancy ones. I don't like this. I've seen a lot of the nail ones with like a pre-made nail bed thing. I don't like that, but I do like these, so maybe I can make some butterfly earrings with that soft resin to make them look more 3D. So while I was jammering, this has settled enough for me to notice that yes, we have some bubbles on the inside. I kind of like it. It adds a little texture to it. If you do not, you're going to need these bubbles out. In fact, let me see if I can do that without making too much of a mess. If you want the bubbles in there, you can leave them in. If not, you can kind of work them out. I only had them on the top. Well, there's some on the bottom. See if I can just knead those out. I don't know if I would actually let this sit here long enough, the bubbles would work themselves out. Since this one is already taking me a very long time to do to begin with, I mean, I can probably wait a little longer and let this settle and fast forward it for you guys, so you're not sitting here watching bubbles literally rise out of a putty.
Step by step, feel the world at your feet. Feel the world at your feet. Breaking chains that held you down so tight. Midnight fantasy taking flight.
Actually, I can set this aside and work on the other ones. I'm going to smooth this out a little bit and see what it looks like underneath. Right, yeah, so we got some bubbles in through here. I don't know if I can physically work those out. I might just try the ones on the ends without putting new bubbles in. Yeah, I think I'm just going to wind up putting even more bubbles in there. All right. So I am just going to let this sit and see if some of those bubbles will work themselves out on their own. In theory, they should, and this isn't going to cure until you get it under a lot of UV light. So I am going to get this out of the light, or away from this light. This is very Rambo-y. I actually really like this film. And we are going to do both of these and set them in my light, which I did find the tray for. Now, I don't want to fill this up all the way, because I do want to back coat it. Same thing with this. I don't want to fill it up all the way, because I do want to back coat it. Pop some bubbles, get the film out of the way. This one, I may have overfilled this one. Oh, I still got to get it to the corner. Again, I should be wearing gloves, but I'm not touching anything with my bare hands. So I'm just going to work this in the corners. Make sure those are completely saturated. This one is almost full, which is fine by me. And this one dips in a tiny bit, which is also fun by me. And you can do this with the films, or you can do these with the chrome powders, or the color shift. May need to back this one in black, but I am going to see first how it looks with the clear backing, or with no backing, clear. And then if it looks like it's too faint and I don't like the way it looks, I may back it with black to kind of pop out the color a little bit more. Clean my tools off so I'm not getting resin on my fingers. Looks like there was still a bubble in here. There we go. Now it is gone. I do want to make sure there are no bubbles. I think I see something in here. That might be on the outside. Okay. These silicone thingies are tacky and get all the hair and dirt stuck to them. So you definitely need to make sure they are very clean. This one is not as sticky. Oops. So it's not as bad. Where this one, as you can see, I can move this very easily with barely touching it because it's that tacky, and this one's quite smooth. So definitely make sure your molds are clean before you put your resin in, but I think that is on the outside. All right, I am going to cure these under the light for 300 seconds. All right, let's check to make sure this is dried solid. Looks like it is. All right, good. So I want to do this one first. Let's see if I can get this thing to peel. Probably should have did that while I was curing. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll throw it back in here anyways. 300 seconds, and I'm going to get the sticker off, and then we will put it on. All right, that's almost done. So I had to do the little tape trick to get these off. So you take 2 pieces of tape, you fold the ends down so you can pull them. You stick the sticky side on each other and then peel it, and you take the nice film off. So without getting my fingers all, you know what? I'm just going to leave it on. You give me something to grip onto without worrying about losing the stickiness. And I'm going to try and put this one off. There is something in my mold in the corner. When I had it this way, I did not see it because it is hiding. So like I mentioned, all the other ones are clean except for that one, and go figure. I'm going to try and push out any bubbles. I'm trying not to break the seal, which I know I already did, of the molds. So that is something you need to be very cautious of. In fact, I might actually have to pop this out of the mold because I know I broke the seal. And I need to clean this up, so I am going to have to pop it out of its molds. Take the scissors and cut all this extra off. Again, smaller scissors would be really good for this.
The wind is calling my name today.
Do this very carefully. Do not cut yourselves.
Through the hills where the wild hearts play.
All right, that's looking good. I am getting some flat back bales for these. That looks wicked pretty. Trying to make sure there's no air pockets because I see some and it's not in the resin. As for that little speck that I saw, I have no clue where it went. Might have one pocket. So instead of drilling a hole in it, I want to do a flat back bale onto this. And it should be in tomorrow or the next day. So I can do both these pendants and finish them up with the flat back bales. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to back this after I get the flat back to ensure that it is in your piece and it's not going to pop off if I were to say glue it, for instance. So I might not back this at all until I get those flat back bales to put on them. And I'm getting clear ones. So I'm going to set this aside and we'll finish that when those come in. And I am going to cover this. It's not very sticky, so I might need to put a light coat of resin over it and just cure it for a quick second to make it tacky. And I want to do more of this aqua blue color because I think that would be a really pretty effect on this. And I haven't opened any of these, so I'm just gonna, yeah, that's not sticking very well. Let's see if I do this side. Yeah, that's not sticking very well. All right, I'm going to clean this off over here. Sprayed it with some rubbing alcohol. And now it doesn't want to come off. Awesome. This shifted up. Very weird. Actually, that's tacky now. I wonder if that's all it needed was a... Oh yeah, UV resin gets very sticky touching if you get alcohol on it. So actually, I am just going to hit this with some more alcohol. And I am going to try this again. Much better.
The sky is endless, the path untamed.
Right, and put that away. And this is pretty clear where you can see through it. I did say I wanted to make sure it looked good clear. It's too transparent. I can tell you, it's hard to tell with this backing, but if I lift it this way, I can see right through it. And I don't like that. So I do want to make a black UV resin, which, by the way, Let's Resin does have their own black UV resin. I don't have a very pigmented black in alcohol inks. Probably should have used the Intense mica, but that unfortunately is, I believe, in my office, in my desk, which is buried under things because everything got shoved up against the wall, and I don't think I can get to the drawer that it's in. So I am gonna have to try and make it with the rubbing alcohol, and I don't know where any of my cups are because I put them somewhere and I don't know where I put them. So I am just gonna do the moon. I don't need that much. I'm gonna try and get this as dark as possible. Start with 2 drops. Actually, 1 drop probably would have been enough. Hopefully this cheers. We'll find out.
A world to conquer, a dream unfrowned. Adventure awaits on the open road. Every step is a story.
Now I'm trying not to touch all the way at the bottom because I don't know if that's going to leave any markings. But I do want to make sure this is going right up to the edges. And then I might make just a little bit more to properly fill that in.
Told mountains rise and the rivers sing. Feel the rush of life in everything.
Yeah, 1 drop probably would have been enough. All right. Now I don't want to fill it up all the way. And what I mean by that is I don't want to have it, I want to dome it. That way I can put the backing on and I can seal it. And we're going to do 300 seconds for that. I am going to need to do this slowly because it is starting to bubble and warp and move. And that's because the UV light is too close. So I need to pull this apart, and we're going to start from high up, and then I'm going to bring it down because I don't need this to completely warp all over the place. And it has already done that. Okay. So I'm just going to slowly bring it down closer as I'm going to hopefully reduce any warping or any more warping than it already has before I wind up putting it back on its tray and cure it from all the way around. So I just wanted to show you how I was doing that on camera. As for this one, I don't know if I want to back this one in black either or leave it the way it is. But we will revisit that when I get the flat back bales. As for this one, it has sat for quite some time. And I even poked it with, to see if I can let the air kind of faster. But there are still bubbles in the putty. So I can't get those bubbles out. I could, however, maybe put it in a dark spot. I'm afraid for the putty to run off the edges if I let it sit too long. But I do know the bubbles would come out the longer you let it sit. It's just so thick, it's got to do it for quite some time. The only problem is I don't have time to let it sit. So I might try working them out a little bit while I'm waiting for that. Again, make sure your tools are clean. Hair likes to get in everything. Okay.
The sun ignites.
Let's see if that helps. All right, let's see if this is cured all the way. Sounds like it has. It is still quite soft, but I'm going to pop this out. It's pretty. Not a fan of the way it looks. And that's probably just the powder itself. But it is very pretty. So I'm going to cure this under the light and get all of this off. I don't want any interference from anything. For another 300 seconds. Want to get our videos ad-free? Or even get early access to all of our videos? Check out our Patreon account at Midnight Fantasy Creation, where you can get a monthly subscription to get early access and ad-free episodes. Let's see. This is dry enough to take out. Yes. Clean my tools. My mold.
The horizons glow. A fearless spirit begins to.
So that is much more sturdy, still slightly soft because of how dark I went with the black. I may have put too much ink in there, but it should be fine. I can probably leave it in the UV light for a little longer. If I wanted to. I don't think it's going to do much, so definitely backing it after we get the flat bail will definitely help give it that protective layer. You can see on the side, you can see where it didn't fill up all the way with resin, which is totally fine. Like, and did much better, and this one for some reason it crept up, and it's probably for the same reason for the warping in the black. It's the light probably was too close and too strong, too fast, and it shifted. So that is something you do kind of be concerned with. The moon, not so much. This did even out itself fairly well. I did not have an issue with the moon, just the ripple mold, and this one is a little bit thicker, so there might have been more resin in this. So resin, when it gets cured too quickly, will shift, move, and literally can travel right out of your molds if you're not careful. I have done it myself, and I've seen it on YouTube. People have done it on their YouTube, realizing it. As for the bubbles, I think poking it with the wider one worked a little bit better. I did get rid of 1 or 2 bubbles. Again, I don't care. I can already feel this getting tacky on the sides, so it may be running a little bit over, but not like liquid would run right over. So that is something you do need to consider if you want to sit and let the bubbles dissipate. You're going to have to come in every little once in a while and shove your ends back up and onto your piece, so they're not going anywhere. But like I had mentioned before, I don't care about the bubbles. I know some people do. They're very adamant on not having any bubbles on their piece. And I'm going to use this as a reference. So you can literally make any kind of marking in your putty to get a watered light, maybe not that flat of a piece. You can make your own water ripple effect.
No chains can bind.
You can even, if you wanted it to look more like drop of water went in the hit the ocean or pond on a nice, a calm lake or body of water where there's no ripple, and then if you drop, it starts to rain, for instance, and you get those perfectly circled ripples, you could probably do that too if you're crafty enough. Not gonna have the patience for that whatsoever, so I am not gonna attempt that kind of a water ripple. I have seen molds with that type of rippling online, and they definitely look very interesting, but it's not for me. I am just looking at this at all angles. I do want it to stay in somewhat of the crescent shaping.
The heart demands. The earth is.
We should have put a little bit more putty on here. If you gave it too much texture, give it a second or two to let it calm down. It will re-flatten itself out again. You wait too long and you're going to have to re-put texture back in it. But I actually think this looks good. I have my ripples textured quite like this. It's not too bad.
The time is at hand.
Just want a little bit more in some of these spots. And the best part with this putty is you don't cure it, you can start all over again. And I went too high up on that.
Adventure awaits on the open road.
Just don't put your fingers on it because you'll get fingerprints and then you will have to let it sit. I know I was doing that for a second, but I'm like, yeah, I don't want to let that sit. I want it a little more bumpy, but I don't want it too bumpy.
Step is a story untold. Mountains rise and the rivers sing. Feel the rush of life and
Which I had, wait, I do have a round one. Where is it? Here it is. Here's one that's more circular. It's got glitter all over it though. All right, you have the silicone tools. I got this in a kit. I know Michael's had, not Michael's, Hobby Lobby had it for a little while, but I have not been able to find it, and so I can't link them. So if your Hobby Lobby happens to have this particular tool set, comes with 3 different pieces. You get one that looks like a popsicle stick. You get one that has the, not a chisel tip. Well, I think that might be considered a chisel tip, and then a point, and then you have a round tipped tool. And I don't know if it came in different colors, and I gotta be careful with my fingers, trying not to heat this up because it's gonna get sticky if I do, and I don't want that to happen. Better. I like that better. So different tools are gonna give you different effects.
everything.
Right, I actually kind of like how that looks, so I am going to cure that under the light 300 seconds before it starts shifting on me. And then tomorrow, of course it's not going to feel like tomorrow for you guys, I am going to come back and finish these, back them all with UV and a flat back bezel. Still debating on whether or not to do black with this one though. You can even do white. I don't know, I can do any color I want. I think the blue would look nice though. Alright, so there we have it. Need to brush a top coat of resin over this, because it's got that tacky feel to it, like the putty has kind of done, but you can probably do like a clear top coat polish. I'm probably just gonna grab a brush and brush this on as thin as smooth as possible, and then cure it again. I do still have this brush here, which has a lot of resin all over it. I don't know if I can clean it off, but I do have a bunch of brushes anyways, so I might just throw this one out because they come in a nice kit. Here's another one that's not too bad. So I think I'll do that and then wait for the shipment to come in.
Every twist, every turn, we find a treasure.
Now the problem with coating the top is making sure you coat all of it, not missing anything, and you're not filling in any of your ripples and smoothing that out, which is why you need to do a nice thin coat, and I probably put way too much on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wind up knocking a bunch of this off. I do have a glove here. Make sure I can actually put it back on. Perfect. I only have one glove with me. I accidentally smoothed that out too much, so I want to just shove this right over.
Hidden in heart and mind. The stars above guide the paths we.
This would be another way to smooth out any imperfections you may have made that you don't like, or sealing the ends in, smoothing any of that off as well. All right, I might actually just use my finger and just ensure.
Choosing every moment, there's nothing to lose.
Stick that under the light, and we will be back tomorrow. Well, you'll be back in a second. I will be back tomorrow with the black back bales to finish putting all of this together. So this is all nice and cured under the light. It's not tacky anywhere. It looks really good. Even with some of the bubbles in there, it does give it a really cool effect. Waves crashing almost. And of course we've got this one and this one. So I do almost want to deck out the top of this just because it didn't quite fill right. It kind of all shifted to one side, and I'm assuming it's because I got too close with the light without easing it down slowly. It kind of stuck it in there. So that is my fault. But you can deck it out with stuff on top. I don't know if I want to stick with seashells and stuff, so I might do that in another video on another time. Sorry, I thought I saw a hair. But I do want to back these. So my flat back bales, the acrylic clear ones came in, and oh, well, there goes a whole bunch. And I'm thinking this would be really good for these because you're not going to be able to see them. They'll hide fairly well, and I should be able to coat the resin over them really well and get them to seal in so they don't pop off as easily. I mean, you can do that with the metal ones too, but I wanted to do the transparent because I don't want to see it underneath the resin as easily. And I do need to plug this in. There we go. I might need to grab my kneaded eraser or some tacky stuff to keep these as level as possible because they're gonna, especially this one's very laying at an angle and the resin's just gonna flow down. So I might just figure out where I put it. Especially this one's gonna shift around a lot. Now, I think this is just the tacket stuff. So I just want it up enough to keep it from going anywhere and have it more level. And hopefully it doesn't run off like I did the last one. And if it does, I'm just going to pick it up and clean it off and start over again. Hopefully that'll be good. I'm going to do this one at a time, just in case. Basically maneuver this exactly where I want, and actually I might just seal this in real quick just to make sure it doesn't move, because it's probably going to swim around if I'm not careful.
Adventure awaits on the open road. Every step is a story untold. Mountain.
This one's lying fairly flat, but just in case. Because this doesn't have as much of a lip on it. I also still have a hole, so I could always just drill a hole in it and put a pinch bail there. But I want to put one of these on.
Rise and the river sing. Feel the rush of life in everything.
They give you a lot in this. I got this off of Amazon, like I mentioned earlier, because I wanted to get it in right away. So I'm happy at how many they gave you, because that should last me a little while. All right. Now, like I said, I want to do these one at a time, just in case one runs off. I'm not ruining one while I'm doing the other. So I'm going to probably fast forward you guys through this, because all I'm going to do is just coat this and just drag this around wherever I need it, and then seal them. That one's good. I know this one should be easy to fill because this has got a lip. The other one is going to be my problem.
The stars align in the midnight air. Dreams awaken without a care.
All right. So those have sat for a good 300 seconds. Hopefully I didn't leak anywhere like I did the last time. And that is looking really good. I like that the sharpness is reduced, but not all the way gone. So you may have to be careful with some of these crescent points. But I think that looks absolutely phenomenal. And of course the color will change based on whatever you have it up against. Or if you want to put a solid color on before you cure it, you can. And as for this one, good. I didn't leak over the edge either. So, and you can barely see the backing even through the actual pendant itself. And that is what I was aiming for. So because these are clear, if I put a silver backing on this or gold, you would have saw it through the moon. And I did not want that to happen. So this made the backing pretty much almost invisible on the front side. And of course, the ripple, you can pick what side you want your crescent to be facing before you do it. But I picked them both the same way. I do kind of like how this crescent looks better than this one, basically just by the shape. But if I wanted to ripple the back to have more of a flat surface, I could do that. Or just put a little putty on it and put some increases in here to give it a light rippled effect. I may do another ripple pendant in the future if I can find a teardrop shaped pendant and do a really cool rounded rippled pattern. That'd be really nice to try instead of wavy one like these are. but I can definitely try that out in the future. I think the heart one would be really cool too. So my only issues with these flat back bales is the hole is so small, and it's facing the way it needs to be on a pendant. Now I'm pretty sure it'll fit on at least, where's that other one? At least on this wax cord. Maybe this one, it should fit. My problem is this piece right here does not fit in the hole, and I already pinched it, so, and I still can't get it to fit in the hole. So I don't know how I'm gonna have to thread these without having to basically pull this backing off and hopefully try not to ruin it, so I can put it back on. I am gonna try that real quick. I'll probably fast forward that, do this right on camera. Just going to try and straighten that back out to see if I can get that into the pendant itself. And I'm going to save this one for later. I want to do the crescent moons because those are pretty much done.
Shadows fade as the light breaks through.
There's a good chance that you will probably break these. I do have these very pieces. If I do break this, I should be able to fix it. I just have to go get them, which I'm hoping those are the ones that are on the floor by my feet right now. If not, I have an idea where they are.
A world reborn, and it starts with you.
Perfect. Let's see if I can fit this wax cord in here. If not, I'm gonna have to go get the other smaller one.
To the rhythm of your own heartbeat.
Try and seal this up a little bit. Granted, I probably should have done that before I shoved it through the hole. Right, do I have a glove still? Probably over there. Glove on, and I just want to pinch this a little bit. I should have done that before I shoved it through the hole. I just want to try and seal this in a little bit better. I may have to just go get the smaller cord and pull that off.
Step by step, feel the world at your feet. Breaking.
This one is not the same. Oh, there it is. I was gonna say it's not the same as the other one. Now, I don't remember if I got both of these wax cords from the same company, but I will definitely have it linked in the descriptions, guys, to purchase your own.
Days that held you down so tight. Midnight fantasy taking flight.
Here we go. Alright, so that is my only complaint with these flat back bales, because they are meant to be put right on a cord, but a standard wax cord is not going to fit through the hole. They should have made the hole a little bit bigger so you can just slide that on as is. If not, I would have to put a pinch bail or a ring and then another bail on it, and I hate adding 20 different bails on for one single bail, and it makes it longer and whatnot. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't mind it if I wanted to deck it out a little bit, but if it was going to make me put another bail on this, I would have preferred the hole to be facing the same direction as my pendant. That way I can just clip the bail right in it without having to add an extra ring to get it facing in the proper direction. So that is the only issue. And all the flat back bails that I found online, especially Amazon, were pretty much the same exact way as this one. So let's see if I can pinch this back on without breaking it. And these can be a bit of a pain. If you remember me doing this on the video with the chains, or the cherry blossom earrings, I believe.
Fantasy taking flight.
And that is in there. Good. That is what I was afraid of. Also, this one, I gotta figure out where the chain went to because it fell off. But this one is the smaller one. I want to say this is a 2mm wax cord. Don't quote me on that. I'd have to look it up. It will be mentioned in the descriptions, probably with the link on the size, or at least if you click on the link, it should tell you in Amazon what size the wax cord is. Now that this is sealed, see if I can shove the bigger one in. No, the bigger ones, hold on, are not going to fit as nicely. So whatever sizes I have in this, I actually might just link the appropriate size to keep any confusion from happening. I had tweezers, right? Oh, there they are. Just so you guys don't get confused at which one is going to properly fit these flat back bales. So I might just link the smaller wax cord, and you can get them in color as well. I might link, if I'm going to do 2 links for the wax cords, it's probably going to be the smaller ones in black and color, because this is going to be too much of a pain in the tushy to do, and it's not going to fit appropriately. So I will link in the descriptions the smaller or the thinner wax cord to put on it. As for the chains, I mean, that's a very small hole. I'm pretty sure you can put a chain through this, but it'd have to be one of the smaller chains. And you guys know I do have chain where you can make your own necklaces and your own size chains. Let me think. Do I have it on hand real quick, or did I pack it away? I think I packed it away. But that is an option. So you can chain them up and then pinch your ends on both sides, and it won't fall off of its necklace part. But that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new and had fun and even got some new ideas for different things. I did start the community page or section of the YouTube. So hopefully you guys can start your own conversations with each other. Keep it friendly and professional, and you are more than welcome to post pictures of either your version of what we did in this video or any of my videos, or doing exactly the same thing and just showing off your, your pieces and adding your own little twist to the items that we do. Because like I said, I'm probably going to decorate this, and then I may actually just post it on the community page instead of doing it in another video if I don't want to do another video for this. I might do another video with a ripple, making your own ripples with different shape, because I do have over here somewhere, where is it? You can get pendants like this. That would probably be really cool. That's the closest thing I'd have to a teardrop, and I kind of like how it's like the leaf, but you can probably make a water ripple pendant look like that. And then you have stars, oval, 2 hearts on this one, diamonds, whatever shape this is, which is similar to this one. So that would be fun. Triangles, just, odd shapes. So I may do this again, but I want to do more of a rounded, like I had mentioned earlier in the video, if the water were to hit calm, placid lake, like if it started to rain or whatever, and you get those perfect circular ripples. I wouldn't mind trying that on another video. Kind of wanted a teardrop. That leaf one is probably the closest thing I have to the teardrop. So if I do that, it'll probably be something like that. But that is it for today's video. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up. Of course, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We are almost at the 500 subscriber mark, and I will be doing a giveaway. So as soon as I hit that, we will be discussing on what the giveaway will be and how to enter it. So definitely look out for that. And of course, share the photos with loved ones and anyone you know who will be interested in this. Comment below, even if you're just adding a heart saying that, you loved it, thumbs up, smiley face, whatever, anything will help, as long as it's positive, of course. Obviously, if you said you don't like it, you can always do the thumbs down. More positive feedback would be great, especially if you want to see something new, if you want to see something different, and if you want me to try something else, definitely comment. And if you don't have anything to say, even like I said, just sending a heart, a smiley face, a thumbs up saying you liked it in the comments, because comments would really help my page as well. And that would be a great way to support my channel without having to spend any money. Of course, you can also visit my store at midnightfantasycreation.com, as well as my eBay and Etsy shops. And you can follow us on all of our social media on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. I'm going to start posting some quick videos of things that I'm doing too on those social media platforms to get a little bit more action with it as well, because I am not a huge social butterfly, so I'm not going to constantly post things all the time. But if you guys want to post stuff on my social channels, like Facebook, I know you can post things on other people's channels. That'd be fine. I will see you guys in the next video. Merry part until you can merry meet again. Blessed be. Bye.